That's the thing about the betas, they like boop, and they just rev out so much, whereas I feel like these are topping out. So I'm just locked. How many of you are comfortable holding it wide open and hitting something? It's kind of scary, right? I mean, I'm not gonna act like that wasn't scary. I mean, that's pretty scary first time, first go. But I did it 4 or 5 times there. It's not that big of a deal as long as you have an understanding of what you're doing. It is all fundamental control that gets you to that point, guaranteed. It is an understanding of how we control our machine via clutch. I mean, really, going into that splatter, I'm here. I'm completely wide open. My clutch is in the friction zone, just like we worked over and over. I slip out to begin the movement into the obstacle. I bring it back in right when my front tire drives into the obstacle to reload, get the power back up, and then I go out again off the face, reduce the power. There's a lot happening on just a, I guess that's not very simple, but a splatter like that, there's a lot happening. And there's a lot of confidence within your clutch. There's a lot of confidence within your body position as well. I come in centered, I move up and down to load the suspension. I then go hips back, almost hips centered. I'm using the centered position and the release of the clutch to get that front tire into the air. Then I straighten out. I straighten out into the rear tire just like the acceleration position. In fact, we could take my phone, and he filmed it. You could pause it right when my rear tire is up against the obstacle. I look like this, right? That same acceleration position we were just practicing. So I'm moving on that machine. Being comfortable with moving starts on very simple obstacles. So this is a very basic obstacle approach. This is something that's, kind of similar to like maybe a little log or something you'd run into out on the trail. Very small ledge like this. It's not necessarily, and just about anybody could ride right over that thing, right? It's not that big of a deal. But doing it in a proper body position form is the thing that I find very challenging for most riders. And this is that beginning of uncoupled movement on the machine. Just like we were talking about earlier with side to side, getting unhooked from that bike and being able to lean out, being able to move from side to side is just as important as being able to move back and forth. And often I see riders very stationary and connected to their bike. Like they and their bike are one thing, whereas we need to be separate. What we're going to do is repeat this obstacle a few times. We'll split up into 2 groups. There's that little ledge over by the giant tumbleweed that we can also work it on. All I want to do here is get you guys dialed in with your movement. It's just a smooth transition over. I would say as your front tire drops on the other side, reduce throttle, come off on the throttle, but we're pretty steady coming through. We're in that centered, ready position we were talking about. Okay, so we're not in attack, we're not here, we're here. Hips back, right? You guys see my hips? My hips are back. My knees are behind my toes. They're not here, they're here, right? Once that front tire drives into the obstacle, the bike actually comes back towards me. As it comes back towards me, I come forward, drop my heels, pull my knees back, lead with my head into that same acceleration position we were just working on. I know there's a lot. We're centered, hips back, enter, front tire, boom. You guys see my knees? I'll do it 5,000 more times. We're centered, hips back, enter, front tire, boom. Enter, front tire, boom. Hips back, knees bent, I come forward. Nice and slow. Lock them. Not bad. Feels a lot different than high speed stuff. High speed, you're a little more stationary. Technical, we need to move. Yeah, I like it. Hips back, knees bent, I come forward. Here, boom. Hey, all right. Yeah, dude. It remains in motion forward. That makes sense? Your body is still in motion, right? Because you are separate from your machine. your bike is essentially running into a wall, your body automatically is going to come forward. You let that happen. The way you maintain control is through your knees. Boom, front tire drives into the obstacle, knees come back. As the rear tire hits the obstacle, my weight is all the way forward. The bike wants to drop away from me. Boom, my hips go back. Back and forth. Okay? Seems simple, very hard. So come in chest down, hips back, knees slightly bent, front tire drives in, straighten those knees out, okay? One more run, then we'll move on. So yeah, dude, we're out here beginning obstacles. The beauty of this is most riders can hit just about anything, right? They can ride over simple stuff, simple ledges like that, but what we're shooting for is a maximization of body position. Most riders hit an obstacle just so tense and so tight, and these guys are trying to understand how to flow back and forth, maximizing through the pegs, maximizing through our knees. I mean, this is so simple, yet so challenging. Good job. So a lot of you are starting to straighten out a little more. We're seeing that chest down. We're trying to get used to that position. Great way to do it is find an obstacle just like that. Repeat, repeat, repeat. If you feel your knees do that thing where they almost like collapse and drive forward, you're doing the opposite of what you need to be doing. You need to be doing the opposite direction. Those knees need to be coming back.